Gary, welcome
Yes.
to the podcast.
Thank you.
It's called Most People Don't, But You Do. For our listeners that are watching, perhaps, and our viewers that are watching via video, we are coming live from the Nittany Lion Inn on the campus of Penn State University, recently remodeled. Today we are talking to Gary Brandeise. Gary is the CEO of Scholar Hotels.
Sure.
Gary, thank you for joining us. And you just, before we hit record, you had a lovely description for the Nittany Lion Inn. Would you mind sharing it again?
So I think, and I'm a little bit biased because it's my building and we did the renovations, but we believe we have the nicest university hotel in the country. So go to any college campus across the United States and there's nothing that will match the quality, the interesting parts of this building on any other college campus. So for our hospitality students, for the people that visit Happy Valley, for whatever reason, we think this is the nicest university hotel in the country. And I'm willing to debate that with anybody at any time, public or private.
Gary Brandeis, Brandeis,
Yes.
Scholar Hotels, so we're going to be able to debate that.
Yes.
I'm very passionate about Penn State being a graduate and alumni. And when we came here, we just arrived yesterday, and this is the first time seeing the redo. And it is stunning. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You were also an alumni, 1988, if I can share that.
Yeah, sure.
Can you talk a little bit about, we're going to go backwards in a moment, but because we are here and it is so stunning, what a major project to undertake. Can you share a little bit about the Nittany Lion Inn? Every time I arrive, of course, I have to tell people, I worked here back in 1986, 87. I did an internship, and the front desk when I worked here was right over there, and I had to do so it has a lot of history for me. It has a lot of history for anyone that went to Penn State.
Correct.
Would you mind sharing with our listeners a little bit about the history? Then we're going to talk about what you've done.
Yeah.
Then we'll go back to you and why assume such an incredible challenge.
So this was an opportunity of a lifetime. Why? It's very rare that a big public university or any university would shed any of its assets. Our core mission is to educate and do research, not operate hotels. And so they went out and made the initiative to say, let's find someone else that can come in, make the necessary investments, and run it properly as a hotel. And so we participated in that process. We already owned a few hotels here in State College, and I think it gave us a little bit of a leg up from a standpoint of the university knew me, they knew our company, they had been in our other buildings here in State College. So I think it gave us a little bit of a leg up. And we went through a long process, through an RFP process, where they interviewed us, they vetted us, they talked to references, and they did a really good job of making sure that we could be a good partner for them. And I think at the end of the day, we're a smaller company, entrepreneurial company, and we were up against much larger companies. And I think the university had to decide, did they want a more entrepreneurial company, an owner that they could talk to and pick up the phone if there was an issue, versus a large corporate environment. And I think one of the reasons they selected us was, one, they knew that the ownership group was going to be involved, and if there was an issue, they could pick up the phone and call me. I think the second reason they picked us was they knew we cared. As a Penn State grad, not only do I care a lot about my business, but I care about this community and I care about the university. And I think that bled through the process of the selection process. And so I think that's why we did it. And as Penn State people, how often would you have the opportunity to own and operate the Nittany Lion Inn? How often would you have the opportunity to put your fingerprints on this iconic building? And so that's what led it.
Well, and it's tremendous. And the people that we've met are equally as amazing as the exterior and as the interior, as the design, the decor. Everything is top notch.
It's more important to me, Bart, that the people are better than the building. The people are more important than the building. And that's what our business is all about. So thank you for that.
Okay, and to me, you seem immediately like a hospitality gentleman, but you are not. You come from, let me say it this way, you did not necessarily grow up in the world of hospitality. We had a lovely breakfast this morning, so we got to know you a little bit more. Understanding that your degree was in accounting, growing up outside of Philadelphia, you were working on the Atlantic City boardwalks, you were working in restaurants. Here you worked at the G-Man, the gingerbread man as a server. So hospitality kind of was in your blood that kind of enabled you to be able to put yourself through school. But at what point, I'm just curious, you studied accounting, you graduated with an accounting degree. Did you not feel that pull toward hospitality? Let me see you, can I go how successful you and Scholar Hotels are? But how did that happen?
I'm not sure I even know that there was a hospitality program when I was in school here. So I was very business focused. Obviously you did,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure I knew that. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to have my own business, and I thought accounting was the best major for me and the best education to go into some sort of business. I think the fact that I grew up in the restaurant business and worked in restaurants and was a cook and a pot washer and a waiter and a busboy, I think that sort of happened by accident. I didn't necessarily have that pull, but as my business career shifted toward hospitality, it certainly was a full circle moment for me. And I think when I was washing pots in Atlantic City, it gave me a really good perspective to go into the hotel business and own and operate hotels and start a company that was specific to hospitality. So I think I try to bring that mentality to my business every day and how I approach things. I think I'm a pot washer. I'm washing pots and pans and bussing tables. That's my sort of attitude as I go into my workday.
Yeah, and you're very humble, and we noticed that when we talked this morning about humility. And I said something, I was complimenting some of your associates, your team members here, and you said that you are the least important person in this hotel and the least important person in your company. And I was shocked to hear that, but also that is something that approaches what most people don't have as an approach, and I think that has to your success. Can you talk a little bit about that statement and why you feel that way?
Yeah. So a lot of people ask me, like, what's the culture of your company? And I said, I'm not sure we have a written culture, but I think the culture comes from the top down. And that statement, I'm the least important person in the company, is really true, in a sense that I'm not on the front lines of greeting our guests, taking care of our clients, making sure the building is clean, making sure that the food tastes good when it comes out of the kitchen. I'm not doing that work. My job is to support those people, make sure they have the tools and resources to do a good job, making sure that we pay our people fairly, making sure that they have good benefits and support from their supervisors. So it's really my job to make sure they have what they need to be successful and they have what they need to service our guests and clients.
Okay.
So that's it's pretty basic, right? It's not complicated.
It is basic, but it's unique. And I just want to tell you that because this is episode 185, top 2 to 5% podcast in the world. And it's because luckily through our paths and our search, our organization is able to find people like you that believe in that. And often we'll use the example, we'll say, this is the culture on paper. And I ask, what is the culture in practice? And I can tell you, so many of your team members here, your employees that I met, believe in what you the chance to move from the Penn State or to the Nittany Lion Inn. You have given people the opportunity to grow. So it's nice to say, and it's nice to hear. Where does that come from? Gary, CEO of Scholar Hotels, where does that come from? Because truly it is unusual.
I'm not sure I can answer like where it comes from. It's just something that sort of happens naturally with us.
I'm talking about you, not us. See, here it is. That's that humility part. I don't want to talk about me.
Okay.
You grew up outside of Philadelphia.
Yes.
And you had shared that it was a good childhood. Your mother was a homemaker. Your father tried different businesses. You lived in what appeared to be a wealthy area from the outside, but your family was not necessarily wealthy. You put yourself through school. You had an older sister, a younger brother.
Correct.
You put yourself through school. You started working when you were 13, 16, whenever you were allowed to work. So you did a lot of great things. Okay, so what instilled in you that I need to work hard, that I need to be kind to people, and I need to be humble?
Yeah, I think it was part of it's an innate part of my personality.
Yeah.
I think I saw people around me, and my parents also did a good job of showing me that. My grandparents in particular. So those summers I spent in Atlantic City, my grandparents, my mother's mother and father, who were probably some sisters. My grandfather had 5 brothers and sisters, so I was always around this big family, especially at my grandparent level, and they loved each other so much and they supported each other so much. So I learned a lot from them, and I think that's what instilled with me the idea that I saw them work hard. They were all immigrants, and they came to this country with nothing, and they worked hard. They educated their kids, and they made sure their grandkids were educated and things like that. So I think I would probably have to say I really got it from them. But ultimately, I knew that if I wanted to succeed or I wanted to have things, when you're a kid, you want things. And I knew if I wanted things, I had to go out and earn money to get the things that I wanted.
Yes, things were not going to be given to you.
Nothing.
You had to make things happen. You had to figure it out. And I love the story that you shared this morning about your grandfather. When you were making your first paycheck, your grandfather said, let's go to the bank. This is what you do.
Yep.
You deposit this, and what were you able to keep?
$20 a week I was able to keep.
In your pocket.
And that was a lot. That was
yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, and you still felt wealthy.
Yeah,
And you felt fulfilled in doing that.
Yeah.
Going to your college days, okay, you selected accounting, and you had referenced already that at that point you knew you wanted to be a business owner.
Yep.
Okay, did anyone, not that someone influenced that, do you remember why you wanted to be an entrepreneur or a business owner?
I do.
Sure.
I think it's because I saw my family struggle, particularly my father with his career a little bit, not really finding a place where he could have a long-term career. And I saw a lot of what he struggled with, depending on other people, to provide him with a job or a paycheck. And I didn't want to put my fate into somebody else's hands.
Yeah.
I wanted to control my own fate. And I was willing to take the risks to do that. I was willing to take a leap of faith on myself to do that. And I think that's really what got me started. I knew that as I started in accounting, I worked for a big accounting firm, and I got to see a lot of different industries. That was the greatest part about it. I was working at one of the big accounting firms, and I had real estate clients and manufacturing clients and banking clients. And for whatever reason, real estate resonated with me. It made sense to me. And that's when I gravitated toward that.
Okay.
And that's what stuck with me. I could sell flowers for a living. As long as I was doing it for myself, I was okay.
Okay, and that really gets back to the essence of you growing up. You had to make things happen for yourself.
Yes.
And you saw that perhaps from your father in a lot of different examples. There's friends of ours that are working for other people, and all of a sudden they're out of a job because they're being told you're redundant. We don't need that position anymore. And then what do? And so we share the story about when that happens to people. We say, you're not redundant, you're remarkable. And maybe that position wasn't needed, but it's not you that wasn't needed. I love that thought of, I'm gonna make things happen for myself. I saw what happened to my father, and I'm going to be responsible for my own destiny.
Yes.
And look at you, and holy cow, amazing, and congratulations.
Thank you.
And you need to take it sincerely
Thank
from
you.
my heart to your
I
heart.
appreciate that.
You are making it happen. Well done.
I appreciate that.
When you shared a little bit about real estate investment, you are principal in, what's the other organization?
So I have a company called Real Estate Capital Management, which
Okay.
is our
Expanding, you have 10 hotels right now. You're looking to add at least another 2, and after this, it's going to be at least another 20 if you're ready for it.
I'm
Our
ready. We're
listeners,
ready.
right?
We're ready
Reach
to
out
go.
to Gary.
We're ready.
So the growth, the expansion, and then the element of hospitality. You were talking a little bit, you shared some insight with regard to real estate by itself. Yes, you could buy a building. Yes, you could buy a strip mall. But would you mind sharing with our listeners what intrigued you about a hotel?
Sure. It was easy. I started as an office and industrial developer, and then we bought our first hotel. We were actually going to tear it down and build something else. And what I realized during that experience was hospitality was the only real estate business that was an operating business, where we could actually control the day-to-day aspect of our business.
Yeah.
We could hire and train and bring people into our organization that really mattered.
Yeah.
And they could have an impact on our business. You can't do that in the office building business or the apartment business. A little bit in the apartment, but it's so much part of hospitality. And I love the idea that we could control our destiny, control our business, create environments that were meaningful to people. And it was part of giving people great experiences. And so that's why I fell in love with hospitality. Because I could do all the same things I was doing in real estate,
Yes.
building buildings, renovating them, financing them, raising capital. But then there was this operating business on top where I got to work with great people and create great experiences for people. So literally, it's the best of both worlds. It really is.
Okay, and we always look for the theme. There's going to be a word that pops out to talk about the theme whenever we publish this, and we're going to call it a certain title.
Yeah, sure.
And the theme that I'm getting, it's about the ability to control your destiny, because you've said that several times. You want to be an entrepreneur to control. You could put up a grocery store, but then you don't have or a strip mall, but you might not have as much control over that's a restaurant, that's a grocery store, that's a cosmetic store. You might not have as much control because you're a landlord. But with the hotels, you can implement the control element.
Yes.
And you can affect how people feel. In order to be able to do that, you must have confidence in you. You bet on yourself. Were you always that confident growing up?
I think so. And I'm not sure I could really tell you why, but I think I believed in myself. I wouldn't say that I was the smart business. It's 24/7, 365. Our doors never close. And if there's an issue on Saturday morning, Christmas morning, you name it, I'm available to anybody in our company to talk or deal with an issue. Typically, those phone calls aren't good phone calls to get,
Yes.
but they're phone calls, and that's what we have to deal with. It could be a physical problem with our building. It could be a guest issue at one of our hotels. It could be an employee issue that we have to manage. So it's 24/7, 365, and I thrive on that sort of organized chaos a little bit we have in this industry.
And it sounds like because you are good at what you do, that you are able to implement control and affect the outcome of all of these things that are going on.
We have to have really good people at all levels.
Yeah.
And so if a problem comes to me, it's probably a pretty big problem. So that's when I have to rely on the folks in our hotels and our executive team to give me the information so we can make a good decision together. And that's typically what we do.
Okay.
And that gets back to me being the least important person in the company.
Yeah, confident, and only confident people can say I'm the least important person. And as I view you, owning 10 plus hotels, moving from State College, commuting between State College and Philadelphia, visiting your other locations, Morgantown, Radford, and there's one other one,
Syracuse.
and Syracuse. There's a lot of moving parts to
Yeah.
it. And I asked you this morning, are you still having fun? Because here I am viewing you, CEO of Scholar Hotels, invested $350 million, has all of these hotels. Holy cow, look at Gary. He's freaking amazing. I want to be just like Gary. And my point is, I always want to make sure that people are having fun. Are you still enjoying? I don't want that to sound like
business perspective is build something that will last. So I'm not a bucket list guy. As much as I want to go see the Eiffel Tower, that lasts a few minutes and then I'm ready to do something else. And that's great.
Yeah.
But what drives me is building something that will last. I want Scholar Hotels in our company and our portfolio to grow and last well beyond my time here. And so in building something that lasts, you've got to be focused, but you have to enjoy it, right? If you
Yeah.
don't enjoy what you do, you're not going to be good at it.
Agreed.
And I think the thing I enjoy most is I don't enjoy sitting in my office staring at my computer screen. The things I enjoy most are being in our hotels, talking to our staff, talking to the housekeepers, talking to the front desk folks. I love to talk to the valet guys and see what's going on. Hey, are we busy? Are people being nice to you? Are people tipping you? I want you guys to make money. How's it going?
Yeah.
And to me, that's the most interesting part. It's the most fun part. And frankly, I learn the most by talking to those people. I talk to our housekeepers. Do you need anything? Is your equipment? Or how can I help you?
Yeah.
And so I say to our team members, if we don't have good performance at the hotels, that we have nothing to talk about.
Agreed.
If our performance doesn't work at our properties, then I can't go out and raise more money, can't convince people to invest with us, I can't convince lenders to lend to us, to buy more hotels and develop more hotels. So what we do on the property every day, not only creating good experiences for our guests, but having a good P&L, profit. What I say is our first job is to make a profit. We're a company, we're in business, I have investors, I have lenders. My first job is to make a profit. If I can do that, the second thing I can do is I can invest back into my buildings and make sure they're operating well, they're clean, they're neat, we're fixing problems, we're not deferring things. And the third thing I can do is I can invest in our people, attract and retain the best people, compensate them well, take good care of them. That's the way we look at it.
Thinking about that, the legacy. You're creating something because this building, 1923?
It was 1933 was the first part.
1933. And the building is here. Those bricks outside are probably 1933.
Some of them, yep.
The element of leaving a legacy, why do you think that's important to you?
It's not so much a legacy about me, it's a legacy about the impact our company can have on the community.
Who cares? That's nice to say. Who
But
cares
it's
about
true.
the community?
It's-
Syracuse, Radford, State College, who cares?
We do.
Why?
Why? Because we have hundreds of employees
How
here
many?
at State College. A lot.
Yeah.
And they live in the community. They shop. Their kids go to school here.
Yes.
And they're paid by our company. They may hopefully get their benefits and their health insurance, and they have a 401k plan where we match dollars for them. So we're helping them create a life and giving them hopefully a great place to work and a great place to work with friends that they make here at our company. So when I talk about legacy, I talk about building a company that has sustainability, that can last beyond me, and creating a great opportunity, not only for the people that work in our hotels, but the folks that work in my corporate office, and building, giving them an opportunity to grow with the company.
That is so altruistic and so nice. Seriously, that is something that most people don't do. You are not creating this, just I'm going to speak for you. You don't need a portrait of Gary Brandeis, cute, see anything. Yeah, I won't.
You won't.
Website for you, your name is not, your picture is not any more predominantly seen than your chief operating officer or your chief commercial revenue officer. You are the same in that bucket. Here you are again, humility, control, being the least important person in the company. And with that approach, you are building something massive. And some of the associates, you call them associates, employees, team members, all of the
Colleagues,
above, colleagues.
yeah, colleagues.
We spoke to several of them. And the impact of what you have created with your team, I know you don't want to take all the credit, you have given people opportunity, you have given people hope, yes, in friendship, you have given them karma, you have given them access to meeting new people that are going to influence their lives. We met just a lovely young person today. I won't get into too much detail. And we shared a gratitude stone. When we travel, we share gratitude stones because we want to recognize people that are amazing. And we shared a gratitude stone, and I'm going to give you one as well. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm searching. I'm either going to give you a microphone or a gratitude stone. I would like you to choose one that resonates with you. Yes, thank you. Blue onyx, of course. Matt, you're getting one in a second.
Matches my walls here.
Yes. And so we shared that stone, that color, blue onyx, with somebody. And this person has been through some personal challenges in their life, but they've been able to get it turned around because your company made an exception to create an exceptional life for somebody. Won't get into any details, and you probably know who it is, but your company made an exception to create an exceptional life for someone else. And off camera, I can tell you more, but it is beautiful and it is moving, it is meaningful, it gives me goosebumps.
I'm so glad they shared that with you. Yeah,
Yes.
wonderful.
And we gave them a blue onyx stone, and it represents focus, it represents discipline, and represents one more. That's okay. We are who we are.
Yeah, it's all good.
Focus, discipline, and peace.
Yeah. Peace of mind, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Content, fulfilled. And that is exactly what this person represented in sharing his or her story with us. Focus.
I love it. I'm glad they
discipline,
shared it. Yeah.
and peace. It's absolutely amazing. I have two more questions for you.
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
You are convincing people to come with you. You're convincing your employees, your associates, your colleagues to come with you. You're convincing investors, come with you. You're betting on yourself because you know what you can do. To me, convincing is about selling, and we talk a lot, and that's my background, the salesmanship. What would you say is a great characteristic, not only of you, but of a great salesperson that needs to convince?
I think it's just believing in yourself. One, you have to know your product, right? You have to be able to speak about what you're selling, and you have to believe in it. People can see through, I would call it phoniness, right? And so if we're selling our space and our facility for a conference or a meeting or someone's wedding, we have to show the same passion for what we believe not only this building can do physically, but what our staff can do. So I think if you talk to our salespeople, you'll see some passion and real care for what they do. And ultimately, I think that's what it comes down to. Remember, we're people serving people.
Yes.
And if we can connect with that person at a personal level, and we know if a bride's coming in here and wants to have her wedding here, it could be the most important day in her life. Of course. Certainly to date, right? Hopefully. And it's our job to make sure that her dreams are fulfilled.
Yes.
And her family and her future husband and everybody else, or whatever type it is. So to me, it's about caring. And again, that gets back to why I think Penn State chose us for this project, because think they knew that we cared.
Yeah.
And I think they know that we actually do because we delivered, right?
Yeah, and you're here, and you're here, and you're here often.
I'm here all the time.
And all the names that we're presenting to 700-800 people in a couple of moments, and you're like, oh, say hello to David, say hello to Sarah, say hello to, and it's like, you already know, of course, yes, you know these people because you're involved in the community, and you are setting up the community for success by employing colleagues all over.
And Penn State made a big bet on our company.
Yeah.
That was a lot of weight on my shoulders, and we delivered, and we had to. But I thrive in that kind of stressful environment, I guess you could call it. And the other thing about this property we're sitting in, there are millions of Penn State people all over the world that know this building.
Yeah.
This is probably the second or third most important building on campus.
Yes.
And everyone was looking at me saying, don't mess this up. And so not only did I feel the weight of my investor partners, my lender, but I also felt the weight of millions of Penn State people saying, this is really important to us. Don't mess it up.
Yeah.
And
what,
so.
No, and again, congratulations. Why university-centric?
Our business thesis is all about owning and operating hotels near major colleges and universities because they create consistent and reliable demand. And where's the risk in hospitality? Where's my business coming from? Where's the demand generator? I have a $10 billion public university. I'm on the $10 billion public university's campus.
Hello.
I think Penn State's not going out of business. It's not relocating. It's going to continue to grow. It's growing.
Yeah.
And University Park in particular, I think is
fantastic.
It's a generational type of opportunity.
Yeah, and
so that's our business model.
No, and I read something
in
somewhere the other day, and it was a professor that was trying to teach his sales students. You have a hot dog stand. How can you do the best compared to everyone else? And it was Alex Hormozy, if I'm saying it, the owner, and he and his wife of acquisition.com. Anyway, interesting thoughts, and they're like, okay, what does your differentiator be? And they're like, I'm going to have the best pure beef hot dog. I'm going to have the best buns made from this place. I'm going to have homemade relish and ketchup. And he's just, no, the differentiator and location, I'm going to have the best location. And the answer that this professor says is, if you could have one thing as a differentiator, it would be hungry customers. That's all you need. So to your point.
Where are the hungry customers?
You have them here. And I was looking at your reader. I'm always curious. That was a department within Penn State University. Yet you had 100 people here for that. But let me type in this, and this was a local council organization with 70 people. What a brilliant idea of what you're doing and where you're doing it. Last question. Name of our company, right? Most people don't. Name of the podcast, most people don't, but you do. Fill in the blanks, Gary. Most people don't blank. And you can hold the book for inspiration.
I'll
hold the flowers for inspiration.
Most people don't, but I take big risks.
Yeah.
But I have great people with me that help me achieve the goals. I would love to tell you everything I've done has been a home run grand slam. They haven't. Sometimes we take a big risk and it doesn't work out as well as we hope. And it's kind of cliche, but you learn more from your mistakes than you do your successes in some ways. And so I think what we as a society, and just in the business world in particular, I think the people that take those risks should probably get a little bit more recognition. A lot of times if you're on social media, you hear, especially in real estate, let's just use real estate as an example. The people that are doing a lot of stuff on social media are the brokers, the consultants, those folks. The risk takers, the person that says, listen, I'm going to do this. And whether they write a check or guarantee a loan or give all of their time and effort toward a venture, those are the folks that really, I think, probably deserve a little bit more not notoriety, but a little bit recognition for what they do.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, people's efforts aren't successful. Hopefully more successes than failures. But I would say, for me, betting on myself and taking risks that I felt were measurable and that my likelihood of success was greater than the likelihood of failure. And it could have been 50.1%, but that was enough to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the key, I think, for me.
Yeah, most people don't take risks. But if you are confident, if you bet on yourself because you know you can do it, because you are going to figure out a way, Gary, to make it happen. You're going to outwork, or outsmart, outthink, outstrategize all of those outwords that you had used in order to be successful, then to build something that is meaningful for people. Yes, it's going to make money, of course, but that allows you to grow to make it even more meaningful, not only for your employees, but for their kids and their grandkids. and then for the guests and everything that they experience.
And the community. So if I have hundreds of employees here and they have a good job and they're happy, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go out into the community, maybe volunteer their time or participate in a charitable effort, things like that. So it's a spider web of interconnected people and businesses that create, hopefully, an environment that we can all be successful in.
Fantastic. Cannot thank enough Gary Brandeis.
Thank you.
CEO of Scholar Hotels. What a great gentleman. I learned so much, and it makes staying here even more special. Nittany Lion Inn.
Thank you.
Owned and managed by Scholar Hotels.
Thank you, sir.
Well done, Gary.
I appreciate it. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. So fun, so fun.